All right, so first off, um, we're here to have a constructive communication, open communication with everybody. So this is going to apply to everybody involved. You need to stay respectful. If someone's trying to get their point across or have a conversation and speak on their opinions on things, let them finish typing. Try not to spam chat. We aren't here to have passive-aggressive comments or any snide comments, unnecessary comments. If you aren't here to be constructive, we'll just ask you to leave. You'll be timed out until the end of the community meeting, and you'll have to wait for the recording to be uploaded if there's no technical issues there. We are going to try and stay on topic. I know that can sometimes be a little wonky with conversations and questions that may happen, but if there's something that you would like to be discussed, it'll be added to the list of things to come up later. Can't hear again. Oh my god. I'm so glad Discord hates me. Is anyone else having issues hearing me? You gotta turn me down? Well, that's alright.
The censorship is wild, honestly.
We do have a few people we have a few people in the community meeting that are they have open appeals open for permanent bans. So when it comes to them, please keep in mind that this is not a ban appeal. Your ban appeal needs to stay in that. This is for the community. The only reason you are attending is because since it's an open and ban appeal, there's no definitive answer if you're coming back or not. And for anyone involved, when we're talking about topics, we aren't trying to talk about one situation, argue over a situation. You can use the experience to support what you're trying to say, but we're not here to argue bans. Send me how to boost my microphone. Yeah, that's all the way up, Mouth. That's what I was saying. It's all the way up, and it's also all the way up on my for Corsair. Yeah. Needless to say, I've gone through this a lot. So I'm actually going to take this time now. Silence. Did you want to speak now or did you want to wait? Okay.
Hello.
So, like I said, the general. Hi. We
Hi.
kind of discussed this in your ticket where it's all like general information. We're not trying to, as I said, argue about any certain cases.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you completely understand that the whole being
Mm-hmm.
respectful also applies to being a speaker. And with that,
Yeah.
I am going to be quiet and let you speak your piece.
Okay. All right. So hey everybody, thanks for allowing me this opportunity. I want to begin by making something very clear. What I'm about to say doesn't come from a place of bitterness or hostility. It comes from frustration, yes, but also from concern, hope, and a desire to see this community grow healthier and stronger. These are not just my thoughts. These are concerns echoed by many in the community who feel voiceless, discouraged, and frankly let down. I want to start with transparency. I understand that reports and bans are usually confidential, and that makes sense in protecting privacy on an individual scale. But when a major action like a server-wide lockdown or large-scale bans occur, as we've just experienced, the community deserves more than just silence about it. When there's no context, no explanation, people fill in blanks with fear and misinformation. It creates division, it breeds distrust, it alienates players who genuinely care about the rules and are now scared they might break one without knowing it. We don't need names and screenshots, but we do need honesty. Here's what kind of behavior crossed the line. Here's how we're handling it. Here's how you can avoid it. That kind of communication builds trust, not chaos. Right now, it feels like people are being punished in the dark, and that's not how a healthy, open community operates. So another topic I want to bring up is respect. It's basic, but it's critical. It goes both ways, from the community to the staff and from staff to the community. Too often I've seen and experienced interactions where community members are talked down to, dismissed, or not given the same level of courtesy we're expected to show. Yes, there are rude players. Yes, staff deal with it a lot. We have to set a tone for the server, and it must come from those in leadership. Staff set an example, and when that example feels condescending or biased, people shut down or act out, and neither of those are good for anyone. Respect doesn't mean agreeing with everyone. It means to listen. It means talking to people like they matter, because they do. So when we're dealing with players who don't speak English, players who do speak English as a second language, I feel it's important we take a little extra time to ensure that we actually understand what they mean. Miscommunications happen, especially when someone is trying to explain themselves in a language they aren't fluent in. That shouldn't count against them. We should be patient, ask follow-up questions, and be open to clarification before taking disciplinary action. Bias is something that's hard to talk about, but we have to focus on that as well. Right now, it feels like relationships, friendships, alliances, and personal history are playing too large a role in decisions that should be neutral. When a player wants to report a staff member, like Rainey, for example, for breaking rules or targeting somebody based on a recognizable skin, it becomes a staff report, and that staff report can only be seen by the staff member in question as someone that they're closely tied to. This is a deeply flawed system. As a community member, I don't feel protected by that. I feel trapped in it. I feel like my ticket won't be handled fairly because the people involved are too close to the issue, and I know that I'm not alone in that. Whether or not actual bias is happening behind the scenes, the perception of it is everywhere, and it looks like rules are bent to protect certain people and used harshly against others. That perception kills trust faster than anything. That ties into accountability. This community sees players being punished for things like toxicity, targeting, or DM harassment, and yet we also see staff and their friends engaging in similar behavior with no consequences. First and foremost, I strongly believe that permanent bans should be reserved for the most extreme violations like DDoS attacks or confirmed hacking. These are threats to server integrity and safety, and permanent bans are justified in those cases. But beyond that, we need to be extremely cautious about issuing permanent bans, especially when it comes to ban stacking. Ban stacking, where multiple reports or tickets are submitted about a player who's already banned, should not lead to an automatic permanent ban. It opens the door for misuse. In theory, someone could gather a bunch of isolated incidents, submit them all at once, and get a player permanently removed from the server without them having had a fair opportunity to respond or learn from previous actions. Each case needs to be looked at individually and contextually, not treated as ammo for a perma ban. We've also been told multiple times that evidence from DMs, voice chats, and other servers is not allowed to be used against people in Zooming, and yet it's happening. And it's happening to some of the most active, dedicated members of this server. Screenshots can be misleading and taken out of context easily. We should not be in the business of punishing people for things that are said in private setting or outside of the server, where moderation, context is lacking, and evidence can be spun in so many directions. Some people banned during this most recent culling weren't even at the level of offenses required for a permanent ban, and there was no visible escalation. No consistent stack, just silence and then a ban. Also, the username policy, it needs more consistency and clarity. If a name is considered inappropriate or borderline, players should receive a warning for each specific name before action is taken. It's unreasonable to ban somebody for a name like Kanye Songwriter while allowing names like War Crimes to remain. If we're going to enforce name rules, they have to be consistent. And people must be clearly warned so they have a chance to change it without being punished. This isn't just upsetting, and it's scary because it makes people feel like they can be removed at any time based on who they upset and not what they did. And when staff or staff adjacent people don't face the same system, it sends a very loud message that the rules do not apply equally. Something else that I do want to speak on is gameplay freedom and rule creeping. So what I'm struggling to understand lately is what is Zooming even supposed to be anymore? Zooming has always been described as a no-rules server, a place where only hard boundaries were chat-related, no hate speech, no harassment, no extreme toxicity, no racism. Everything else was meant to be part of the sandbox. You log in, you survive, you die, you grow. That was the draw. That was the identity. But now we're seeing rule revisions popping up left, right, and center, especially around targeting. What used to be a narrow, understandable boundary like repeated camping or clearly malicious harassment has now become so broad that you can get punished for recognizing someone's skin and killing them. We've gone from no rules except for don't be racist in chat to don't kill people you know or you might get reported. And how does that make sense in a survival game where growing, fighting, and dying are essential to the experience? Why are we suddenly policing PvP this hard? I should be allowed to kill somebody because I recognize them and don't want to team with them. That doesn't make me toxic. That makes me a player who isn't interested in socializing with everyone I see, and that should be okay. Zooming is meant to be a PvP, free, grow, open survival server. It's not a dinosaur roleplay lounge, and it's not VR chat. The second we start punishing players for acting within the survival framework of killing, avoiding, defending, we're killing the game in itself. And the most painful part is that players who do continue playing this way will still try to engage in the no rules. The players who do continue playing this way, who still try to engage in the true no rules survival experience, are the ones being punished. I watched closely, and I feel like a betrayal of what the servers is claimed to be. So I'm really just asking what kind of server is Zooming now, because if we're going to shift into a rule-heavy, socially enforced space, the community deserves to know that, and new players deserve to know up front. I want to be clear in that I'm speaking up because I believe this community deserves better. I believe we can be better, and this is not an attack. This is a plea for growth. The stuff puts in time and effort, and that's recognized, but the effort doesn't excuse imbalance. If we want Zooming to be welcoming, strong, long-lasting server, then we need to be willing to look in the mirror, and we must be willing to change what's broken together. Thank you. That's it. That's all I have.
That's like okay.
Okay.
All right. I think a lot of the stuff you brought up is going to be kind of talked about in the topics we have here.
Mhm.
But I do appreciate you coming and giving your opinion of everything and how you see everything. This is exactly like we were looking for, is getting feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, sorry, I can't read and talk at the same time. So yeah, so I will say, like, if you can just take note on things that you'd want us to answer directly for if it wasn't answered within the topics coming up, just so we can come back and make sure that we answer any questions that you may have based off of like what you said.
Okay.
Just because, like I said, we do want to kind of go over everything.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. What was answered? Okay. So we'll go over this, and I'm gonna be perfectly honest, you were speaking really, really fast. So like I said, there may be some things that get missed.
I was really nervous. I was really, really nervous. I had written down so keep on track, and I still got super anxious.
Well done, though.
Okay,
well
so
written out.
actually, what's that?
I said well done, though. Well, it was very well written out.
Oh
think,
yeah, no,
some people
that
were
was
commenting on it.
Thanks.
if you want to actually send the notes you have, like if you have a breakdown of your notes to Bass, just because I'm kind of using him for like the whole note thing.
Yeah, I'm getting used.
I'm sure he can kind of make sure it gets. Don't say that. That it gets put into the notes that we have here to make sure it gets properly gone over.
Okay.
LT, don't make it worse. Oh my god. And Bass, did you let that person know?
Yeah, they're in right
rules?
now. They're saying they can't talk. Can you type in the chat? Because no one else is supposed to be speaking right now besides people on stage. Okay.
Okay. That requires like a lot of bot. Another server
I
wouldn't
think
do well, and the bots
Oh.
and
I think if anything, the alternate
okay.
what they would want is a literal no rule server where everything goes, and that would also be chaos.
Yeah,
Well,
and so this
the
is
thing
the
is
issue we're running into is that.
Go ahead.
What do you mean it wouldn't cost anything, Jared? I thought you would need to have another computer for that. That's what you said before, or did you already do that? Okay, but what was that silence?
I was just saying for a no rules server, like I said, like there's just rules popping up all the time for a no rules server. No in-game rules is like was kind of the whole social construct of this server, but people keep sneaking in new rules or revising new rules on what targeting is. So I can't go South Plains and kill somebody that I don't want to be with or socialize with multiple times because they keep whatever, it's a PvP server. And now I can get targeting tickets for that, which I already have. So it's
Well,
like
it's not.
what are
So
the
you
what
can
are
go kill
the
them, but things if you're.
so like what
It's
where it's
it's
like
when you're avoiding random people to go after particular people. That's the only time. Like if you go and KOS somebody, that's not the issue. It's when you're ignoring others.
I will say though that we did discuss at the staff meeting to possibly change the name of Zooming Islander, at the very least take out the no rules part, and
Mhm.
Jared was not about it. So you can all throw tomatoes at him.
Yeah, I think it's just people taking the no rules a little too literally. When the no rules thing is purely, you can mix pack, you can canny, you can anything like aisle related, and targeting isn't really. I view that more like, as Wolfie said, actually, is more of a behavioral thing than a game thing, because you're doing it based on how you feel personally about somebody, nothing to do with like how you're playing the game. And if we changed it to low rules, then you're gonna have constant reports of being, oh, these people are mix packing, oh, this person killed me.
I think no rules is, at least in this way, is used as a shorthand, because if we explained, oh, no rules except chat rules and a couple of gameplay rules, that's a really long fucking server title. But I think, like, we would, and I think Jared might be about it, for changing it to low rules if, and this isn't the case, but if the case was that low rules already wasn't taken by other servers like Petite, and I think Islander Semi-Realism, where low rules basically is actually just rules. Like, it's not really low rules. Otherwise, we would probably use low rules, because it is low rules.
Puppy, speaking on that regard, it's not that they jumped to perma. They had their 28-day ban, and the next ban was a perma. It's not, oh, you targeted this person, it's a permanent ban now. That's the ban stacks taken into play, and it was extremely obvious of them ignoring every single player except for the one person they were trying to kill. And
I
if we,
know.
again, for the second time, low rules would imply that there's gameplay rules, and people would make a million tickets over mix packing and all the small things that aren't against the rules. Yeah, Dom, but you weren't banned for targeting.
Well, this is what, in part, what the meeting is for, Vark, so we can try to get more consistent, because I think anyone who's been part of the community
Yeah.
for any decent length of time has at least some commitment and desire to see the server, at the very least, if not get better, then at least not get worse. But hopefully get better. And we're already in agreement that the community should be made more aware of changes, have at least an amount of say in them, and us listening to feedback more often, and just communicating more in general on both sides. Because as long as it's constructive, I don't think any amount of communication is ever a bad thing.
I can't keep up with you guys. I mean, this is why we're talking about like having a bit more transparency, because you guys say favoritism, but like every case is generally brought up in staff chat, and it's staff discuss situations.
I wish we could, Kelly, but we can't do it. Even if everyone in the server agreed on it, it's ultimately up to Jerd. I will say though, on the staff side, we also felt like it should be at the very least remove the no rules part.
Yeah, because it's not a no rules server.
For gameplay, and this is what I mean, like it's.
But there is gameplay rules. We just discussed how there's gameplay rules. Targeting is a gameplay rule.
This is where. But targeting is you're going over someone over personal feelings.
I don't know that Dibble. But they keep showing up in that skin that I don't know. And I'm killing them. That's not personal. I don't know them.
It could be discussed as a thing where targeting might require more evidence besides just kills alone, like more context regarding if there's chats involved, if there's some sort of relationship issue or whatever. Because outside of kills alone, I did bring this up, I think, in the staff meeting, that it's entirely possible if the same people hang out in the same hotspot, like you could easily get a certain amount of kills with the same person over and over again. That doesn't necessarily mean you're targeting. Even if the person feels targeted, it could just mean, oh, you're both in the same place and you both hang out there.
Well, because targeting used to be following somebody. If I was killing this Dibble over and over in South Plains and they went to Highlands and then I went to Highlands and killed them there, okay, targeting. If I'm hanging out with everybody at South Plains and all these Dibbles keep coming through and I want to play the game how it's meant to be, to kill things, and that group keeps coming back and I keep killing them, how's that targeting? I'm not following them around. I'm not going to their places, but it is.
But it's not. If they keep coming back and you keep fighting them, are you avoiding randoms to kill them?
Well, they are all randoms. I don't know these people.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though, is that if you don't know who they are and you're not avoiding players to kill them, it's not targeting.
We do have a section specifically for talking about targeting, though, that like all of this can be brought up. I mean, our section on targeting is all the way at the bottom, but I guess since it's a topic now, we can bring that up.
Yeah, I
So
might
this
need to
is
put the hold on. I'm trying to catch up. I need to Oh gosh. I definitely didn't almost delete the channel. Okay. Let me catch up.
wow. Wayne decides to hold a community meeting and then just deletes the whole channel. Damn.
No. No. No, no one's talking. I'm trying to catch up.
Yeah, we're reading the chats at the moment. But yeah, to what Doomslayer said, the last point is one of the things we're discussing. And it's also something on the list for anything that is not a one-sided issue. Like for example, you say the R word in chat, that's not one-sided. We don't have to ask for another side for that. But for issues regarding multiple people, it is considered to ask for the other side in all cases, not just targeting.
Okay. So since we're jumping to the targeting thing, KOSing is no, that's KOSing. Unless you run past somebody you don't know to go kill that person and keep killing that person and keep avoiding people you don't know to kill them. When everyone was added for the new rules, that included the new rules of targeting. And that was before the bans you were speaking about were put into place. I think it was like 2 months ago that the new rules got rolled out. And this, okay. One topic, you guys. I can't. Okay, speaking on targeting. So as of right now, yes, it's if it is obvious that you are ignoring others to go after a particular individual, that is going to be seen as targeting. I don't remember exact date when the rules were changed, but it was more than a month ago. I think it was over 2 months ago. The rules were changed and everybody was added about the rule changes. Just because we didn't think it was fair to make someone leave an area just because one person was going out of their way to kill an individual. So we're not against having a discussion and seeing like what we can do to include everyone's opinions on it. But the fact is that people do target without following them from location to location, and I don't think someone should be able to bully someone out of an area. Um, how do you bait someone to only going for you out of everybody around? I don't think that's really something you can force somebody to do.
Like, I'm not sure that would be considered targeting anymore if you're provoking it. I think one of the parts of targeting that we consider is the fact that it's
Okay,
not wanted by
so-
one side.
As I said about remaining respectful and no passive aggressive comments, you can be unbanned at the end of the community meeting.
Look, I have at the top, it was actually supposed to be the first topic we discussed, was about community polls. Polling on most things that have an effect on the community.
I didn't do it to Donge. And again, we're not going to speak on like particular things. That's not what this is for.
Well, alt is going to be a thing that that Jerd can hopefully prevent people from using. And it's going to be limited in the scope of it.
One
But-
second, Bass.
Okay.
Summer, we said at the beginning of the meeting that anyone that makes any passive aggressive comments or things that aren't constructive will be timed out until the end of the meeting. If they're avoiding randoms to kill you, cat, it would be targeting. It has nothing to do if you want to fight or not. Neither side are at fault if they come and just fight a group. Donge, going after someone because they said it's a random is one thing, and if you're on about the same thing, it's still the fact of avoiding 10 people to kill one person. It's when you're going out of your way to kill them.
I mean, that's in part basically what it is, McDonald's. But following alone is not following is not a requirement. It's just something that helps us. No, it makes targeting more obvious and blatant. Of course, sometimes we ask in targeting tickets, more so in the past, for people to move just so we can get more evidence on it. Because it becomes easier to tell. Yeah, it is advice, J-Dog, but it's not necessarily a requirement. As Rainey said, it's not necessarily fair to make someone move, but at the same time, if it were me and I felt I was getting targeted and I made a ticket about it, I would do whatever I had to do to make the investigation as quick and easy as possible. And if that means moving locations, then so be it. It's only a temporary thing.
But we also have groups of people that only play in one spot. So you're ruining their experience because they can't go play with the people
Yeah,
in
I'm
that one
saying in
area.
general.
Because you're
Yeah, I'm saying like in general, most people have the ability to go wherever. There are special cases where it's not. I know it's not the case. Because we have obviously seen things where someone is in a group in a particular spot, another, one or two people come up to kill that person, and their entire group is trying to defend them and attack them, and the group attacking ignores everyone that's swinging at them just to go for one person. That makes it kind of blatant. You're ignoring imminent threats to go after something that is being protected.
if you are actively hunting something, Summer, and if you branch off and go back to it, that would not be viewed as targeting. Because you were already engaged in fighting them.
We'll see. That's the catch-22, Dawn, is the more crystal clear that we outline the rules as, if we spell it out every little thing, and someone finds a loophole that way, then they'll point to the rules and be like, well, that wasn't there. The more specific, obviously we want it to be somewhat specific. But if we split hairs about every little thing that is or isn't on there, we can't account for every single possible scenario that could ever happen. So we want it to be, what did I say in the staff meeting? Cast a wide net, but not an invisible one. Make it something that people can see, but that still leaves a lot of room. Yes, people have been saying consistency is our best asset in that case.
Beer Bandit, if you are ignoring players to go after that singular player, like say you're being attacked and you keep doing that, it's again, that's like where investigations come into play. But just because you know that player is bad, and you're avoiding people to kill them, it could be seen as targeting. But that's what I mean. Are you going after them because you want to fight them, and you're going to avoid everyone to kill them? And that's, oh my god. A cat, it's oh my god. Oh, I see. Okay. But why do you know that skin if they're all random? That's a confusing example. I don't know if it was brought up after. There is no difference from killing a staff than killing a random. I say random because there are friend groups and people aren't going to attack their friends. I'm not saying random maliciously. It's just, if it's someone they don't know, they're going to attack them. I feel like there's a difference between when you're going out hunting something and singling somebody out. Killing the smallest dino is not the same as singling someone out.
Yeah, if we miss things, we're sorry. We're trying to.
I'm
There's a lot
still
of.
trying to catch up.
I'm just basically just picking out things that I can respond to. No, suggestions are for improvement. You can just use the suggestions thing, but we will have, like my stream is saying, community polls is a big thing that I'm championing here because I want. I mean, like I said, this place is a community, and the rules are there primarily for the benefit of the community. And if most of the community feels like something is not benefiting them, we should hear them out on it. Alright, since we're still on targeting, does anyone have more input regarding this? I guess we'll just work our way up.
Oh my god. J-Dog is now being ignored. I am trying to
Yeah, I've been
catch
replying
up
to him in the
to
chat.
messages.
Yep. Been replying to him every time. Unless he only wants a response from you.
Can you write down what Silence said about making a Google Doc for improvement suggestions? Yeah, Wolfie, can you change the cooldown?
The cooldown is now at 2 minutes.
Thank you. You're not being silenced. It's just really hard to keep up with chat and answer questions when the chat's moving so fast. Okay. All right, so targeting has changed probably about 3 times since it's originally come out. So it doesn't matter, like whatever comes out, there's gonna be people not happy because there's people getting bullied out of areas. There's people who want to just kill certain players because they're there. Um, so this is why when we spoke at the staff meeting, we spoke on changing the targeting where it's they have to give us whatever they have, and if it's not decided right there and then in the ticket, where we're not going to go out of our way to watch these players or anything, it should be completely obvious when a player is being targeted. Oh boy. Um, so just for everyone's aware, what is on the screen here is not how targeting was done beforehand. This year, if we turn the cooldown off, it's gonna be me 5 minutes behind on chat again.
Just speed read, Rainy. Get better.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You want help?
Yeah. Right. So the targeting that's on screen right now is different to what was there previously. We're now going to have it that they need to show all the evidence when the ticket is made, and it needs to be obvious targeting. Just to try and avoid any questions on it. If we have any doubts on if it's targeting, it's just going to be denied for targeting. I'm I hate reading. Leave me alone. So obviously, following people from location to location will be targeting, and the bounties is targeting. And then only if it's obvious that you are avoiding people to go for a singular person in an area. And obviously people would have to have F2 in clips to show that these are players that they wouldn't know. And on top of that, if it's decided that we think it is targeting, we would be asking the other side their point of view as to why they singled out this player to get a better idea if it was targeting or if it was just coincidence. Well, obviously we can't prove bounties all the time. It's just if we get evidence that there was a bounty put out, it'll be seen as targeting. Think that would go under how long were you following them for? Like going and just pecking them just to, because you obviously can't fight them is one thing, but if you go and disrupt their gameplay for like 3 hours, it's going to be talked about.
We are also going to have a thread that's going to have previous targeting examples in it, which will hopefully make the targeting rule a little bit clearer to people of what we deem as targeting. Is there anything else we need to cover regarding targeting? I mean, a lot of the chat is saying the exact same sort of thing.
I was waiting for constructive.
It has been an hour on this one topic.
Damn, Wolfie has a fucking stopwatch out and everything on this.
I'm just saying that this isn't a staff meeting. Not everyone has 4 hours to watch and listen.
Oh my god. Okay, since we're all just talking about individual topics, I'll just say move on to the next topic.
Well, this leads in up to it. Which one do we want to cover next? Community polls, general changes, transparency.
General changes. Okay, sure.
Yeah, let's go 4-2. Let's do 3 next. Why not?
Look, we started at 4, so we might as well. These numbers don't mean anything.
No,
2
they
comes after
don't.
4. You know that, right?
Thanks, Jed.
Yeah.
W. Jared.
Um.
All right. Well, changing redeem to heal. Literally just so
Yeah.
people
So changing
understand what it
slash
means.
redeem slash heal is just a name. Yeah, it doesn't change the redeem at all.
Just so people know what it actually means, because some people are like, "What the fuck is redeem?" Believe me, you don't want Jared to speak. You wouldn't hear shit. If you couldn't hear Rainey, you won't hear him.
And then having it that to try and help the issue of people complaining about healing mid-fight, upping it by 1 or 2 points, because the point is, if you die kind of thing. Let people have their kill rather than redeeming every 5 minutes on the mark.
Alright, and since Goots mentioned this, upping the cost of heal at full grown, it's basically just 1 point extra if you're going to use it when you're already grown, when you're using it just to heal. Just 1 additional point.
You say as if the people that have more Patreons are going to pay an extra point. Everyone that has extra points is usually pretty stingy on their points.
Yes, Mr. Muppet, it's just a name change.
But yeah, it shouldn't be a bad thing to die. But you don't have to redeem a full grown. You can die and come back and pay the regular redeem cost.
This is hopefully going to help some of the smaller things in the server, because less people will want to heal while they're full grown.
There is,
Hopefully it'll
Zan,
mean
there's
that-
already a 5-minute cooldown to redeem.
Hopefully it'll mean that Trudons, Raptors, PTs might even get more kills, because less people are going to be doing the heal, and more people are going to be willing to die. And obviously, if you aren't liking
Okay,
the
but
cost
the thing
change,
is,
you can just die and then use the normal price to grow again.
I think the only concern that might be there with someone not wanting to die is if you did a mutation command or a diet command, and you die, you're losing those, and if you want them again, you have to pay points again to get those back. So you're ended up having to spend more because of dying, not just because, or not because you weren't able to redeem and keep the same dino.
the issue of making it so you couldn't redeem when you're bleeding is that you have the little troll Trudons and everything that go and cause you to bleed. Then you're fucked. But the thing is, like, people should be okay with dying. I can see the issue with like getting mutations and diets, but it's still like there's small dinos is unplayable because they can't hunt things because they'll just redeem.
Well, when the blood thing was made a suggestion, it was voted down. The no's outweighed the yeses about 2 to 1.
But yeah, this isn't a change that's coming in. I think this is something we're talking about having be the first poll on how people feel about it, about upping the cost of healing when you're at full grown, or like Jared said, he can make it that you can't redeem if you're at a fast rate of loss.
Make Hera 100 points. Fuck Hera. But I think the
when it
heal
comes to
thing isn't gonna
teleporting.
the heal thing isn't going to be a pull change, right? It's just we're just probably gonna do this.
I think so. I think that was the idea. But again, Bucky, like this isn't something that's being implemented. It's gonna be getting people's this is probably, like I said, gonna be the first poll we do.
Polls is 0.1, by the way, guys, but you guys wanted to skip to 4. You guys don't even know what polls are yet.
Yeah, poll was the first thing.
That's a good suggestion too, Donj. The increased timer for certain dinos. Rather than upping the cost.
That could be a thing. So increase redeem cooldown based on dino tier, maybe? Like the first 2 tiers probably don't get anything. And maybe increase by like a minute for Dibble and 2 minutes for Stag and Dino. Although to be fair, Dino and Stag aren't really on the same tier because Stag whoops Dino's ass. And yeah, we can't change spawn locations. So only thing Jerd can do is make them random. Bye, Echo. I wonder if there's a way for Jerd to can you have the bot only increase the heal timer when they're full grown? Since the other change was just to increase the cost when they're full grown. Well, the redeem cost right now across the board is 5 minutes. So we could do, again, a minute for Dib, 2 minutes for Steak and Dino, or I don't think 5 minutes extra would. No, I don't think anyone wants to deal with a fucking 10-minute timer.
Okay, so we make the votes between upping the cost, cooldown adjustments, restrictions on if you have bleed.
I think movement was also another one. You can't do it if you're moving. Or combat. I think it was combat after like 20 seconds or like a minute
Maybe
after
just
being hit.
say restrictions.
Yeah, so restrictions
then,
on bleed,
'cause then
movement, and combat.
yeah, but like I would be more okay with restricting the combat than I would bleed.
I think
That's
Jared
why
was
it's
So maybe
looking
they
at
just have
doing
to
it
put
on low
separately.
bleed as well. Jared was going to look whether he could do it only on low bleed.
Yeah, but in general, for like the poll, just have it as those options. And like I said, we'll do a voting thing to see what people would prefer. Okay. Next one.
Polls.
So going up now instead of down.
Seeing as this is all
Yeah.
about polls, what we were just talking about is going to be the first poll.
Yeah. Might as well.
We'll have an option in there to keep it the way it is too, so people can vote on what they would prefer.
Yeah. And also, if like, let's say someone votes the community votes one way and it's changed whichever way, and then the community ends up changing its mind, like actually we don't like that. It can be looked at again. Well, a lot has changed since Spyro, to be fair.
Not your comments.
Well, we could always
But
have like
yeah.
full a thread. They can vote in it and then also comment additional stuff if they want.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it could be a poll in a thread. Yeah, that's valid. Okay.
All right, so
Okay.
first about community polls, what should they be used for versus not used for? Because obviously not everything is going to come up to a poll. Some things just wouldn't be feasible to have a proper vote on. Some things are just not votable. But oh, speaking of which, I do want to. It's not directly related to community polls, but it's similar.
Yeah, semi-regular.
Well, because staff is, all our schedules are different, and there's no sense having like a monthly meeting if nothing's changed much in the last month. But another commitment to keeping up with transparency and communicating with the community is, hosting like semi-regular town halls, roughly every like 3 to 6 months, depending. Obviously, if something big comes up, we can slam the emergency meeting button like we're in Among Us.
When it comes to polls, it'd be to get an idea of what everybody wants, but that does not mean that the decision would be made purely based off of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Another note
bastards
said,
notes.
the results of community polls are considerations, not promises. A specific result is not guaranteed to be acted upon. And I just added this little part to make you guys feel better.
Wow.
I know. A reminder, we have
Yeah,
nothing
I'm hoping someone got
constructive
that.
to add.
Me too, Jared. I'm sure it's in the deleted message answer.
No, you weren't, Jared. We know you can't read.
What?
I skimmed over it. It was. Jared's gonna get like a tattoo of it or something. That's how important it was to him.
So I will say when it comes to events, the polls never really went anywhere. Like, obviously it's a good idea. Dogs.
We just had Silence was the only speaker, Bucky, you were the other one. So when we finish up polls, we can have you speak and then go to the last part of this. That's what you're speaking on, I think, leads
I
up
think
into
Bucky
that anyway.
was gonna speak last because his.
Oh, right after all this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Bucky's was last.
Okay. I mean, I guess I'm just confused on what they mean by events themselves. Like, because we already have community or polls sometimes if like what used to be event managers, asking people what kind of event they wanted and then put it that way. So I guess I would like more context as to what else about events would you want a community vote on.
That's what he was saying. He wants to be able to vote on what events are going to be happening that week.
I mean, I think that's up to whatever staff is hosting one. It partially depends on like availability too, because obviously, like if people want a large event but only one staff is available at a particular time, like we won't be able to do that.
The other thing is, not all staff enjoy hosting events. So while we understand that you guys might have a preference in coming to one event, some of them are really hell to host. So even though the community would like to do that event, none of the staff are willing to host that event at that time. You can always reach out. If you really, really want to do an event, you can reach out in a ticket. We have an event ticket now. And you could talk about hosting that specific event. You can always open a ticket if you'd like to sponsor an event as well, if you'd like to donate points towards an event. So if you're really wanting to do a certain event, like if you really wanted to do Steg 1v1s, you could always make an event ticket and sponsor that event or offer to help host that event.
Yeah, cruise. Yeah, don't worry, Dodge. When Trike first drops, like that's one of the first things I want to do is have a Trike event. Yeah, Cruz was saying he wanted an event with Stag using only the default swing. Yeah, I told him that. But no. Alright, how long to have community polls open? How long do you think is a reasonable amount of time? Because obviously keep in mind people have schedules, people have work. You know, not everyone is no-lifing the Dino game. Yeah, I would say the minimum should probably be, because for time zone and whatever, I'd say a minimum of like 3 days. And then for bigger issues, week. And then if it looks like the community can't really come on a consensus, like polls are split almost 50-50, maybe extend it. Or have a discussion about it. Oh my god, Corvus. Can I even stream? Hold on. Wait. Shit. That's fine. I was gonna try to do Wii music, but
Why is it so loud?
it's not loud. know anything.
Yeah, so we were discussing having a separate channel to post them. To be fair, Wolfie, I stay on topic a lot better on staff meetings than I am right now. Yeah. Do you have anything else to say on this topic?
Yeah, where to post them? I think we should post them in its own channel. And I think that there should be a discussion thread. I don't think it should be in general. I think that there should be its own section, its own channel called community polls, which will have one message.
I agree.
Which will be the question. Just like suggestions, it'll have a tick or an X, and then underneath will be a thread on how to discuss.
Or a poll if there's multiple suggestions. Well, that's what the polls are going to be, but if it's not like just a yes or no thing, if it's more of a, do you want this, or this, then it's a poll with a thread.
Yeah, I think it should be an actually poll because I think a lot of them will have multiple options. I think our big thing is trying to make it so alts can vote.
Yes, I think the only people that should be able to see that channel should be linked accounts.
Linked, and then yeah, George was talking about it being based on activity.
Alright, and then who can vote? We do a certain amount of time in the server. I think also they mentioned have it be the same as like the work command. You can only use it if you've been active in the server at least once in 2 weeks. Yeah, that's the last one, Silence, because we're hopping around. The last one is transparency and staff stuff. This is just an easy lead-in.
So I think everyone's happy on polls.
Wait,
Yep.
yeah, alts cannot vote. We decided
Yeah,
that's going to be
yeah,
work command once every.
I think the rest of the stuff's our side on how it works. I
Yep.
don't
Okay.
think it's.
All right, that's good.
Topic 3.
All right,
The last topic.
most fun point, the best topic. All right, bans and timeouts being in a public channel. Everyone will get to see evidence provided. They'll see why someone was banned and for how long. Or are we also talking about the roles associated with this or no? The proposed roles associated with it.
I feel like that's not set up.
No, but
Jared,
like,
are we
if it was-
talking on that? Is that?
That also isn't a community thing.
No, but it would be a way for them to know. That was why I'm asking if we wanted to bring that up or not. No? Okay.
You probably can't react to messages if the player has you blocked.
I will say, Bick, that obviously sensitive information will be not posted. Like, you won't get to someone's Steam profile, you won't get their alts. It's just this person did this. Here's the evidence. This is how long your timeout or ban is.
It's Jerd. I mean, not Jerd.
It's
Patrick.
Jared. Yeah, you heard it. It's Jared. Jared's playing music and he's not even in here. He's just that fucking powerful.
Oh gosh. It was in honor of Jerd. It's close enough.
This will hopefully combat the fact that people think that staff are biased, staff are ignoring certain things, because everything will now be public. You will see what we're banning for. You'll see what's being timed out for. You'll see the length that we're timing out for. This will hopefully help with the whole staff favoritism thing. You'll be able to see that everyone is under the same rules. I don't think we're going to be sharing staff conversations that lead to bans. Hopefully being able to show you guys the evidence of why we ban them. It'll be clear enough. That can be something that can be looked at in the future, though. Obviously, staff
And J2.
conversations do normally include private info, including Steam IDs, Steam names, things like that.
So we'll go over the private Discord thing when we get to that, Jay.
Yeah, well, we're doing it point by point here.
Same with you, Don.
But ban stacks falling off after 2 months of good behavior. Meaning no rule break. Warnings still stick, just because we need to have a log of them.
This is already a thing I should point out. Like this
Yeah.
isn't up for discussion. This is already a thing. It's just clarified more. This is already shown in ban stacks. After 60 days, your ban will go down to the previous level. So if you're on 7 days and it's been 60 days since that 7-day ban, you would go back down to 24 hours. Bans do not stack if you are already banned.
Yeah, I'll add that in.
I feel like the cases that you guys are referring to was the extreme toxicity situation, which was just a decision-making period. It was nothing to do with whether or not they were banned at the time.
In the same vein, if you break multiple rules at the same time, let's say you're being both racist and sexist or whatever, you don't get double the ban. It's just all in one instance.
But we've also had people get banned for targeting because they did bounties while they were banned. Donjay said when we get to that point, we'll speak more on it. We haven't actually discussed it yet.
Yeah, we're just doing it point by point. That way we can keep track of what's been discussed and what still needs to be addressed. I mean, theoretically flinchy, yes, but if it's bad enough, you can be upped. You're like, if you have a 24-hour thing, but like it's really bad, with upper staff permission, we can up it to a 7-day. It doesn't happen often, but yep. Don't worry, Donch. I mean, to say if the warnings, if there are any, the 24 hours, the 7-day, and perhaps a 14-day, and then 28-day isn't enough of a warning. I mean, I just don't know how many slaps across the wrist you need before, you know. There is a ban bracket, and they are stacked. Not based on offense, they're just stacked with each other. Because we used to have to do individually between chat bans versus gameplay versus if they weren't already punished for the same thing, it counted as a separate stack. Yeah, perms don't. The only way to get rid of a permit is appeal, and assuming your appeal is accepted. Yeah, the fall off applies to every type of ban besides perma. Applies to 24-hour.
For the people that are saying 60 days is a really long time for a ban to fall off, we do give a lot of chances before reaching a permaban. I feel like if you can't follow the rules, and you can't follow the rules within 60 days, then yes, your ban will be stacked to the next level.
You can get untimed out when the meeting's over. No, but
Yeah, like permas can be applied without, like the same for hacking and doxing. Like very extreme cases are permit with or without any prior ban history. I mean, I don't work with appeals, Don, but I assume that they communicate with that with you. Because people have appealed before, usually regarding hacking, when they prove their other side and they get notified.
I think regarding server bans, when you fill out the appeal, your email is linked, and you get an email or something.
Well, we've already made.
you guys
Jay,
are
we've
still
already.
speaking on like exact situations. Sorry, go ahead, Bess.
I'm just saying, like, I used to be of the opinion that we were really soft on how bans work, but now with the ban stacks and slightly stricter rules. It's a bit better, but we don't want to be overly harsh and slap people because for all we know, they could have had a really bad day, broke like 4 rules in one go, and then they're suddenly perm banned just for that. We do take context into account. We look at consistent behavior, and I think that is generally the greatest tell of whether or not someone is going to be a consistent problem in the server. And we can't show our consistency as well if we just insta-permaban when someone, breaks 4 rules at once.
Okay. Next one.
Our favorite one. Taking actions on rule breaks and DMs and in extreme cases, private discords. And for clarification, extreme equals things like racism, sexism, homophobia, harassment, slurs, big shit.
So even before the change that came up, it was said that extreme cases, private DMs and all that would be taken into consideration. And the evidence that we were supplied were extreme. So before it was generally, if it was in DMs or anything, we wouldn't take action. And now it's if it's a rule break in a DM, action will be taken. Just don't DM people. Like I don't know why you have to go DM someone to telling them to kill themselves. That's hokey.
Well, there was also a point brought up, Dawn, about if it's between members of Zooming. Like, Zooming has to be a connecting factor here. We're not going to go into private DMs with, or private discords with people that have nothing to do with Zooming. And this is also a suggestion. It's not being put into action quite yet. Well, it entirely depends on what shit you're talking. An example was put out in staff meeting, I believe, if you're calling someone a pedo in servers and spreading that about them.
Vic, it's not just talking shit in a private Discord. But obviously, if you are participating in racism, sexism, homophobia, especially relating to someone in Zooming, then yes, it might be enforced.
Because this is also a case where we would ask for the other side. I didn't say that, Flinchy, but we're only one, like, if we went about trying to ban everyone from our server that was ever racist, or, like, we would ban a good chunk of people that have never been in the server.
Okay, like I said, we can if it's in support of something silence, as long as it's to support it and not to argue it. Like Wolfie has already used an example of what we were talking about.
Don, this is one of those cases where context will be taken into consideration. You would obviously be pulled into a ticket, and you would be asked your side before any action would be taken. Because we understand that DMs and personal servers can be edited to look in any way. This is never something that we would just, okay, ban. This would, DMs and private servers would be something that you would always be pulled into a ticket for and asked for your side of the story.
No. Because we can't rely, like, solely on the honor system, and this is something I think if we acted on, we'd be very cautious about, because anyone could twist it to be, you know, look bad or good for them or the other person.
Exactly, Flinchy. There are some times when we don't really need context.
Yeah. Some things speak for themselves.
Silence targeting was always held at a different level.
Yeah, targeting is not the same as rule breaks of like how of like what you say and how you talk about somebody in particular.
Naj, I'll copy
Having
this
evidence on targeting is having evidence of targeting.
and add it and put it in Notepad. That way we can look at it. And we specified this in the staff meeting, but we did say that for non-extreme cases, private discords by themselves won't be acted upon, but they can be used as evidence for DM stuff or for context for other reports. But if like someone's calling you fat in a private Discord and that's it, like we're not doing anything about that.
Maybe jokes should be funny.
I think some of you are thinking toxic as in L shit on. We're talking about promoting self-harm, racism, sexism, homophobia. That shouldn't be okay anywhere. Private servers, DMs, anywhere.
We've gone over the Discord TOS, Jay, and that's not part of it. Someone did make the breach of TOS argument and looked over it. It's not worded that way. I can bring it up if anyone actually wants to see it. Hold on.
I think they're talking about in private discords, Bucky.
I mean, my defense of this, Ivana, like, even if someone, whether jokingly or not, if someone's talking to another friend or whatever and is calling me a pedophile, even if it's not like directly at me, like, I don't want that being said about me. That even something that's not directed at you can still affect you, I think is what I'm saying.
I have read what you said, Vorix. I'm just waiting to go back to that. Because again, I'm not really trying to like go on particular topics.
I mean, that briefly was made a rule, and then even Wavy himself said he didn't actually want it to be a rule. He just didn't like it. But in that context, we would say block, and then if people kept trying to get around that, that could be moved to harassment.
Okay. Okay, so Vorix, when I think a big thing to like keep in mind here is that these are recent changes to the rules for DMs. So when we're telling you to block them, it's the same thing that we'd be telling a community member to do is block. And this is why I wasn't trying to like go into particulars. So like with your situation of gain DMs, it's like for sure now it would be like, okay, they would get the timeout for breaking a rule, but at that point it was we weren't taking DMs into consideration. Bucky, he was just using examples, and that's why I said it was the situations have changed, like the DM situations. This is it going back to how it used to be because we did used to take action on DMs. Actually, I think it started with we didn't take action, and then we did, and then we didn't, and then now we do again. Well, consistency, but the rules change as, staff meetings happen and situations happen that would call for the rule being changed. Well, being as this is our first community meeting, I don't think we can really give average, but yesterday we had a 4-hour staff meeting. So if that helps you at all. And that's with me taking our last 3 topics off of the staff meeting
I
because I
know.
didn't want to talk anymore.
We had more to go through, and Renee's like, I'm tapping out.
Yeah, what's the next topic?
You don't get to know.
The next point?
Isn't this our last target?
Yeah.
Oh,
these
and
are
it's a
basically
14-day ban. Yes.
This
You
gives
will
And
people
then
a
have
little
another
more
chance.
in between.
silence bonus to touch based on staff bias. There was a lot to go over, Jay. Okay.
And more still. Plus, half of
I
it was
think I
like
posted a screenshot of our topics in the thread for the community meeting.
it was also us going over both community meeting stuff and staff meetings. It was like a combination of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
14 base stack is basically just giving you another postponing your inevitable
And-
demise.
yeah, and I do agree that it should be posted that after the 28th day that it's a permanent.
Yeah, Dawn has a question that I was also thinking about. Is that does the 14-day ban apply retroactively to people that were on 28 days or whatever?
The permanently banned people are permanently banned.
I will say silence is just because we talked about this in the staff meeting, is I think it's also in our notes. We wanted to get mods from, and we have, Rainey's also said in the past that when we look at, or when they technically look at staff apps and stuff, they want to get people from different parts of the community, people that aren't just embedded in the main clique. We want to get a variety of opinions.
And when it comes to reporting me, you can open a staff report, and before even making the report, ask me to be removed from the ticket.
Or ask for a
And I won't
specific
be
staff
able
member to
to
only see the ticket, yeah.
Well, a staff report would only be Jared or I.
Oh, yeah.
So remove me from the ticket, and they would just be speaking to Jared.
But what if I want to report
but-
both you and Jared? I get to talk to Wolfie?
I think if you want to report Jared,
fun
you
is
might as well
that?
just leave server.
But when it comes to reporting someone that you feel a staff member is close to, you are allowed to request them not to take the ticket. We've had a lot of people do that. Actually, I think Bick did that a lot, where he just straight up stated that these people cannot take my ticket. So if you feel someone is being biased and you don't want them to have any say, you just say that in the ticket, and they are expected to follow that.
Even halfway through the ticket,
'cause
if you don't like it, you can request another staff member.
Yeah. Never feel afraid to request another staff member. And like Bass said, we're getting more staff members, hopefully. But when it comes to that, we're also limited to who apply to who we can accept.
And I will say that wasn't a result of your ticket at all. It was outside stuff. Nothing out of that ticket went out of that ticket. And Rainey did not see it.
Silence, that could be looked at. Being able to open an appeal ticket, which would include upper staff. I think that would have to be a Jerd decision though, on whether he wanted to open up Rainy staff reports to upper staff as well. But I'm sure Jerd would be able to add upper staff to said staff report after removing Rainy.
Yeah, he can always add people to the ticket too. Like we have the ability to do /add. It's the same as him adding the other people that were in Don's ticket. And yeah, but Don, your guys' whole situation was already in discussions before that ticket ever came into play.
No. What
Didn't-
do you...
Relating to that, he was talking about Dinos and water and TP and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, it was not relating to the topic of bans, transparency, anything.
Yeah, when we finish all the topics we have, if anything extra needs to be brought up, we can do that. But we want to get through what's already written out first.
This is not an appeal space, Don.
I mean, I'll just straight up say it was a toxicity, but it's not being appealed here.
Okay, I think that's all the topics. I think we're about ready to let Bucky on stage.
Um,
I believe so. Just
well,
check
hold on.
real quick, make sure
Silence,
that-
did you have any more suggestions to help with, or anyone else really, to try and see that there is no bias? Because obviously we can't show staff chats that all the tickets are generally discussed within several members. So what would your guys' suggestion be to try and help show that it's not?
I mean, I think false reports and retaliatory reports are a little bit different. Because retaliatory reports are still valid reports if they have a valid reason for the report. You know, if two people are, example, I'm not gonna name names or anything, but yesterday, two people broke rules, arguing with each other at the same time. Both get banned. Both made reports on each other. But false, I mean, if you're making up, like if you're trying to frame someone, you're making up evidence or whatever. If you're making reports to harass staff, but we can just close the ticket.
just gonna give a few more minutes to have people respond to opinions to try and help with the concerns of staff bias, and then we'll bring Bucky onto the stage. There is no 6.
I was about to say 6. We don't even have a 5. Jared, are you okay?
Anytime staff applications come in, it's taken into account that they're part of the same friend groups, and we try to avoid that.
I do think one thing I think might help, and I mean this is entirely up to uppers, but maybe it might help if the whole staff team was allowed to look at, or at the very least admins as well, look at applicants, and because I think they right now because there's only
Well,
2
the
or 3
last 2
people
times
that
we have put it in staff chat.
yeah, but I think it was only for 2 different applicants. I think 4, but 2 separate decisions.
Yeah, but the
I mean,
last
like in
2
general,
times I posted all the people who applied.
all of them. I only saw 2, unless there was only 2 of them.
It was out of your time zone, Bast.
Ah,
She didn't put names or anything like that. She put the important parts of their application.
Oh, the apps. Yeah, I put their apps.
no, yeah, okay, it was out. But I do think it might help a little bit with the perspective that the staff team is made up only of friends, and that we only pick our friends for the team. And if it's only by a couple of people that get to select them, I think that's part of why they might think that is because only a couple of people get to pick. Obviously, I don't expect admins
I
alone
feel
to
like
only
Jared is
be
the
able to
only
select
one
it.
that can have the unbiased opinion. Because that's the
Because
issue
Jared
too,
bullies
though, that
everybody.
new people be brought into the team where nobody knows anybody, and we become friends with them. That's just how the team goes.
I
Ow.
mean, I don't think people that are known or friends should be necessarily passed over because of that, but I don't think that should have any effect on the decision. You don't want someone because they're a friend. You want them because you know them, and you know whether or not they're a good pick.
Yeah, but that's why we also gave the staff team the just the applications, and they could base it off of the application and not the name.
We could probably, because I think that's just a recent thing for like the last couple of them, but we can start doing that consistently. If anything, knowing the friends I have, I'm not picking any of them. I know you guys better.
I will say that one of the best trial mods we have right now is someone that is brand new to the server. None of the staff even heard of their name before, and they have been flying through training. They have been so helpful to the staff team, and they have
Yeah, I have
nothing to do with
no
us.
idea.
We barely knew their name. They have been an amazing addition to the staff. So we
Literally
really
first
try and
time
make sure that people aren't in the friend group.
I met them, they were already staff. I'm like, who the fuck is this? But yeah, they've been very, very helpful.
I miss Serenity.
Yeah, Cruz, I honestly don't know how Mist got in. I'll be honest.
I like that idea, Silence, of opening up a thread for ideas for transparency. We have done that before, Jay. We've done it, I think, twice now. Um, people weren't impressed when we did it, but they weren't bad staff members. Like, they were really good while they were here.
Yeah, if we think someone would be a good fit, I think we've approached before, like, hey, nudge, nudge, you should maybe think of applying for staff. It usually doesn't happen happen that much simply because it's not like staff, but they are now, but previously, staff/mod applications were not open all the time. So, like, we can't push someone to apply when the applications aren't open. Am I really on a blank page? I'm on a blank page.
Okay.
Yeah, you get this
So,
last little bit.
I like the idea of having a thread for more transparency and accountability ideas. Just to try and show people without, obviously showing them staff chats, because that's where a lot of it does happen, is in staff chats. And also, like, just people keeping in mind that they can always ask for another staff member. You don't have to speak to the staff member that you're talking to in your ticket.
Just keep asking until you go through all of us.
So with that being said, Bucky, if you want to request to come be up on stage.
All right, hold on, I will.
And I'm just gonna give you the little spiel.
Okay.
I know you said it's something short and sweet, but I'm just gonna say, remember, keep it respectable. Don't speak on any topics that, like,
What I have to
individual
say is
topic.
nothing to do with any of the topics that we're talking about.
Okay, bet. So as long as you remain respectful, that'll be great. And I'm gonna give you the
It's-
stage.
It's super simple. It was just something I was thinking about the other day. Everybody that's here, this is a community. There may be some people who do or don't like each other. Then there will be people who do and do like each other and love each other. This isn't Call of Duty where you hop into a lobby, you talk shit, you never see that person again. We see the same 200 people cycling in and out of the server every day. The server hits 240, caps out sometimes. And it's important to remember that a majority of us are adults and that it is a game where we all do come here to have fun. Some of us come here to have an escape and to let go of things that we carry in real life. And this is some people's forms of therapy. With that being said, that a lot of the people here are adults, we do also have to remember that there are children in this server. There are kids that play this game. While some people may say the argument that kids shouldn't be playing the game, it's not the world that we live in anymore. We live in a world where kids are indeed on these games, and they don't need to be exposed to some of the things that are thrown around and said to one another. And it's not hard to be a genuine person in a game where it's the same people that you see every single day. When I see people log in, a lot of the times I see people say good morning, good evening, good night. I hope you had a good day. And then everybody gets on with business. Even if the people fight, they still throw out a friendly welcome to everybody on the server because this is a community. We're all supposed to be working together to have fun and to enjoy the best time that we can while we're here. And just to remember that we are all human. And, the staff team works very hard to do their absolute best. From just personally, from what I've observed, that you guys do an outstanding job to be as absolutely fair as possible to everybody that you come in contact with and to make everybody feel welcome. And just at the end of the day, it's absolutely free to be a good person and to be kind to one another because we are all seeing each other on a daily basis. We aren't cycling out players. Some come and go, some don't. Most of us know each other. Most of us can say a name and know who's who. And we have to remember that. And there's no price to be nice to one another. Even if you want to go L when you kill somebody, still throw up a GG. Like L, get wrecked, but GG. You know, it's free, and we all know each other. We are all a community together. We may not all be friends. We may not all be enemies. But we are all still a community together. That's it.
W Bucky for real. Thank you so much for the words.
W.
For that. Oh my gosh. And that was a great way to end the community meeting. I think a general thread for things people think were missed and would like to have more things go over. Also, probably a poll on the redeem things, and then also just a general idea if people would want these to happen more often or not. But yeah, other than that, thanks guys for coming. I was happy to hear how you guys all feel and be able to have conversations on it and get everyone's viewpoints. Take care, Vorex.
Take care.
I'm scared to end this because last time it just. You know what? Yeah, bye guys!